Hey, welcome to yet another devlog. Today I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach and basically share my progress on CodeCrafters DNS Server in Zig challenge. After my last stream, I spent quite some time on on this project to make it work to some annoying extent. I needed to spend time on it, and to be honest, I learned a lot about it, and I wanted to just review it here in this video to keep a log for myself in future to get back to it when I'm more confident in Zig. So yeah, without further ado, this is the story. It successfully now passes all the tests on CodeCrafters challenge, and I'm number 350 on their leaderboard, whatever that means. I'm not sure if it's across languages or only Zig, but anyways, who counts? So I'm going to close off this terminal because now I just want to focus on the code and the changes that I remember that I did. The majority of the main file is untouched, except for the DNS client that I extracted in another interface to make it more clear for myself when I want to work with this code. When I finished my last stream, the code was in a better state than before, but this time my program was raising a lot of memory leak issues. So even I resolved a lot of them locally by changing my code, and then when I was running the tests on CodeCrafter, it was failing there, right? And that was a scary moment for me, that to realize, okay, a lot of assumptions that I had about memory management probably are wrong, and I need to invest more time to learn it. However, I needed to take a more practical approach, right? Just changing the code and debugging one by one didn't make sense anymore. So I invested a lot of time to write some tests and generate some of them as well. I used LLM to help me writing some tests because simply I didn't know how to test this stuff in the first place initially. So I was always thinking about what abstractions are available, what I can use, but it was as simple as touching the actual binary values, right? So I generated and wrote some tests, and then based on those tests, I tried to debug the code, and I restructured some stuff. So if I will look at the files, I'm going to start with the main.zig file now. To go over the changes, the main change in the logic is basically up here, these two lines where I am based on the questions we are getting, right? So the way that CodeCrafters is testing my program is sending it DNS message with more than one question in it, right? And any upstream server that I'm going to use as my proxy doesn't care about any question after the first one, right? What I needed to do is to generate a new question based on that message that I'm receiving from my client, and then send them to the upstream server, receive the response, append it to the response that I want to send back to my client, and send the message basically. So to do that, I ended up with writing a new function called makeQuestion, which simply takes the whole received message. Right? Probably I can refactor it to simplify it, maybe get a question number here, but I think yeah, when I was thinking about it, this was the simplest form to write it up and finish it. So it takes the whole received message from the client, also the specific question that I want to craft. Sorry, this piece is the buffer that I'm passing to get as a result, right? The request is the whole message I've received from my client, and Q is the exact question that I want to create a new single question from. So, and if I open my LSP and look at this function, this is basically generating a new message, and it is doing so by extracting the header file, header from the original request, writing it into the new message buffer, and do so again with the question section and the related flags and stuff like that, right? This was a little bit of a trick here for me. In this function, I intentionally didn't want to use any allocator. I just wanted to try out this pattern to figure out how it works, right? It was quite interesting because I didn't need to allocate anything, but since my logic is not aware of what size of a buffer the user is passing to me, I ended up basically every step of the way trying to check if the size is if the required size is available, right? So this is not as smart as I yeah, as smart as possible, but this was the easy solution. So that's how this piece is implemented. Meta-Rictic is asking what is Zig. Zig is a system level programming language. You can find more detail about it on ziglang.org. So it's trying to be a better replacement for C. Back to where I was. So yeah, basically what I'm doing is, as I said, I'm creating a new request based on each question and sending it to my query client, and then the rest of the shebang, which I covered in the previous streams. The next piece that is changed significantly is my query logic. So I realized my query logic is also not as bulletproof as I expected to be. So I had a lot of memory leaks there as well. Every time I was passing my downstream processed message, I was leaking memory without closing it off. So this one I heavily refactored with the guidance of LLM. And the eventual pattern it used here is a super overkill implementation, but I kept it because I wanted to basically see how it is possible. Basically what it's doing here is defining an interface called transport, and for that transport there is an implementation called UTP, which is basically is responsible for making a request, how the open a connection and send the packet, receive the result, and pass on the result to the final client. And the client is basically defined using an using a transport, and this transport is interchangeable, of course, right? Here I have a UDP transport. I can use other transports as well, and the query logic is pretty basic compared to the heavy lifting being done in the transport layer. What it does is basically sending a request and receiving the response using this send receive function from the transport layer, and then checking thanks Meta. Yeah, so I'm checking the length of the bytes of the result to at least have the headers in it, because it was causing a lot of issues downstream. I'm not sure if it was actually CodeCrafter intentionally testing that or some bug inside my program, but eventually I was ending up with a lot of mixed bytes in my results. And at the end of the process, it's going to basically parse the response from the upstream server and pass it on. What else do I have here? Yeah, I have some tests here, but these are kind of mock tests. So the transport layer itself, which is responsible for sending messages, is actually fake. So it returns a fake response, and then I'm actually exercising the client itself to see if it behaves the way I want it to behave. So basically, if a message is broken, it should raise an error and stuff like that. And I also have this feature.zig, which basically defines some message structures that is useful inside the tests defined for the DNS client. What else do I have here is the message.zig. So up until last stream, I had 4 important files apart from the main.zig, which message was basically the entry point of the 3 others, and it was responsible for parsing the message and also serializing it from the structure that I was using inside my app to a set of bytes. And yeah, basically again the approach is similar here. I'm creating a packet every time to exercise my functions, my business logic, to make sure I have everything I am receiving everything I was passing to this function. One annoying problem, which I think in episode 3 or 4 I ended up with, was to have a 0 byte after label, and kinda I was missing it the whole along the journey. And yeah, basically figuring it out took me quite some time to figure out it's necessary. What else do I have here? Yeah, with a lot of these functions that I'm basically using allocators with, it is important to free up the allocator for the pieces that the memory allocation has been used. So every time I'm passing a result out of an allocated memory piece I was using to own the slice, right? Then it means that this scope is responsible for freeing up this allocator, and I was missing those, right? And inside the program I was just ending up getting a memory leak issue. So what I did, I basically started with a syntax like this, right? And manually doing this free up, but also received a recommendation from ChatGPT to define functions called let me see if I can find them. fn deinit. Why is not showing any of those? Maybe inside label. I have one. I'm sure of it. Differ. Yeah, this is one of them. So for the message itself, I also have a deinit function. So I think I forgot that I can just drop these and call the deinit function down here. So deinit, what deinit does is basically attaches to the message instance and basically removes everything that is necessary. This is very useful because now my client doesn't need to actually know the details of my code to know which part they need to clean up after passing the allocator. And that client is obviously myself, which embarrassingly is easy for me to forget this stuff. So yeah, this is a pattern I'm going to use more often from now on. I think this basically covers majority of changes in the message, which to be honest was the simplest part of the whole process for me to refactor. Let's see, I think I had a test for memory leaks. Yeah, this one, yeah, I left it inside the DNS client one, is using testing allocator. So what it does is basically deiniting the message in a section that I know my client is still relying on the data to exist. So the problem I had was I was running my tests on CodeCrafters, and every time it was saying, yeah, the IP address that we expect is X, and you are delivering this other IP address as a result. But every time I was running it, the number of IP address was different. So I figured something is wrong about my memory management. And after a lot of back and forth, realized the problem is how I'm managing my memory inside the query. So I wrote this test, which basically deinitializes the initial message that I'm passing on to the message object. Basically here, deinitializing it earlier prematurely, and then ensuring the IP address that I expect is actually there, and not I'm not dropping any actual values, so it doesn't read from memory. I think there is another one related to this, which was returning all zeros. I cannot find it right now, but one good thing about Zig, which I actually read inside the documentation, I think it was XAA. Yeah, this was the interesting part. In debug and release safe mode, Zig writes 0xAA, basically AA decimal bytes to undefined memory. This, I think I've seen a lot when I was working on this project, that unassigned memory sections of my buffer or allocator was returning 0xAA, and that was a sign that you're not writing anything here. I wish I knew it earlier. What else do I have? I think the rest is pretty simple. Yeah, there are some changes here and there in the logic, but it's not something significant apart from the fact that this time everything is being tested inside the code. Yeah, with that, I think I covered the majority of what I wanted to share in this live, and I wanted to also share that this session, this journey of writing a DNS server on Zig is not finished. I just finished the challenge from CodeCrafters. What I plan to do in future is to actually try to write a DNS server that I can use as part of my setup. Right now I'm using different DNS servers to basically block ads and stuff like that. I was thinking I'm never using any program that I've written as my daily driver, so I thought it's a good idea, a good challenge for me to try to write something reliable for myself to use. That would be probably somewhere in the next few weeks. I will get back to that, and in the meantime I'm going to focus on learning some more Zig. I'm going to announce every challenge that I'm going to pick up in this challenge in the for the next few days. I won't release anything, but I expect for the next weekend to start a new journey and share it over here. Metarictic, before watching these, for now I'm just a sub. Good luck, King. Thanks, I really appreciate it. Yeah, this is heartwarming that people are actually caring about this stream. I would like to have more engagement in the chat to learn from you guys as well, but yeah, maybe in future I see more of those. Thanks for watching. That's it for today, and have a great week ahead starting tomorrow. See you later.